That's all the statements.
Let's go over them all. That's all the statements collected. Let's run through them all to see if anything doesn't add up.
To see if anyone's been lying.
That too.
Fitz and I were up in the Moonlight Garden most of the afternoon. Then we heard this sound. Lasted about 3 seconds.
We thought it was coming from Flora's tower, so we went up there.
Her door was locked. Nobody was answering. So I made Fitz kick down the door.
Poppy and I went in. Freya was right there, laying on her back.
I left my tower and headed down towards the Grand Hall.
But in the hall, I spotted Uncle Pointer heading down the stairs. I vacated the library, but before I could begin my ascent, Professor Pointer appeared.
I didn't know what to do, so I ran downstairs to get Fifi.
I heard someone heading down the stairs, just outside my room.
Someone began banging on the door. I ignored it, until the someone began shouting at me.
Eventually, she let me in.
I spotted Detective Hawkshaw coming out of the library.
He emerged from the Pointer staircase, crossed the hall, and begun up the fellow staircase. As I was passing through the front door, Penelope called out from behind me. I inquired about the professor, and she told me he'd gone up the fellow tower.
I told her what had happened. She didn't believe me. She got angry.
I thought she was playing a trick on me, so I punched her in the face.
I recognized Fiona's voice, as well as the voice of my own daughter.
We left the room, and Poppy's father was waiting outside. He followed us upstairs.
I ran up the stairs, hoping to catch up with him, but Felix appeared and blocked my path.
Back in the hallway, I bumped into a very concerned-looking Penelope. She was heading up Fellow Tower to find Professor Pointer, so I escorted her.
Poppy left the room for a while. When she came back, she had her father with her, and Fifi too.
Felix and Penny arrived shortly after we did.
A moment later, we were gazing down on the body of poor Freya.
Then, I took a sample of the red paint on the unfinished painting.
She took me down to the library. We were in there about 15 minutes.
I quickly decided that I should leave also. I took Penelope with me, and we both went back to our rooms in Pointer Tower.
I wanted to go back to my room, but I realized nobody had told Detective Hawkshaw anything.
An unremarkable hour passed before the gardener finally made his appearance.
I think she was annoyed about being made to wait outside so long, but when I told her about Freya, she fell silent.
That's disappointing.
What is?
All the statements line up with each other.
They don't just line up. Some of them even seem to specifically confirm each other.
Name, Flora Fellow. Age, 44. Profession, unknown. Likes, unknown. Dislikes, unknown.
Isn't she your mother? How do you not know anything?
I believe other people may have discovered methods of reaching her, but I have little capacity for interpreting nonverbal communication.
And how long has Flora been... non-verbal?
She has always been quiet, willing to speak when necessary, but not more.
So what happened to make her stop talking entirely?
She suffered a great loss, something she has been unable to move beyond. Name, Haksha. Age, unknown. Profession, private detective. Likes, quote, being left alone. Dislikes, quote, being constantly badgered by a weirdo nerd with a clipboard. Name, Percival Pointer. Age, 57. Profession, none.
I'm pretty sure he's an astronomer.
Oh yes, of course. How uncharacteristically forgetful of me. Name, Felix Fellow. Age, 53. Profession, none. Likes, collecting objects of negligible monetary value and assigning them personal value. Dislikes, the inescapable realities of human existence. Notes, Felix is my father and legal guardian.
And, is he a good dad?
I have no point of comparison, but I would say no.
No? Why not?
You asked me a binary question. Do not get upset that I provided one of the two possible answers.
What makes him a bad father, Fifi?
He has trouble expressing his emotions, and something of a willful detachment from reality.
Huh. Just like you, then.
Grimoire.
No, he is quite correct. Name, Freya Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, artist. Deceased. Understand this. Most people find me difficult. They exhibit a noticeable degree of discomfort when talking to me. There it is. Freya, who had a way of being an exception to any given rule, was not at all like this. She is very important, and I will not rest until I understand what has happened to her.
Did you spend a lot of time with Freya recently?
I will say this. In the past year, Freya became, 1, increasingly independent, and 2, increasingly isolated.
Do you know why?
I do not. If you are looking for a speculative, empathetic opinion, try asking Poppy instead.
The three of you are friends.
We are of a similar age, and all highly gifted. 1 scientist, 1 artist, and 1 musician.
Sounds like quite a team.
Name, Penelope Pointer. Age, 27. Profession, ornithologist. Likes, birds. Dislikes, insects. Notes, Penelope is very beautiful. I have never had very much in common with her. Name, Fiona Fellow. Age, 19. Profession, amateur microbiologist. Likes, the meaningful archiving of information. Dislikes, the superfluous window dressing accompanying the majority of human contact. Notes, kindly disregard the polysyllabic form of my given forename and refer to me instead as Fifi.
How come you prefer Fifi?
How come you prefer Grimoire?
How are you related to the other fellows?
Fitz is my cousin. His father, a man named Flint, was my uncle.
Was?
I do not know if Flint is alive or not. He left Tangle Tower a long time ago.
And what about Freya? How are you related to her?
We share exactly 1 grandparent. Name, Fitzfellow. Age, 24. Profession, cryptobotanist. Likes soil, dislikes electric lights.
Hang on. Cryptobotanist? I thought he was just a gardener.
That may well be his preferred label. Mine, however, is more accurate.
Do you and Fitz not see eye to eye, Fifi?
We do not.
Well, I wouldn't have thought so. He's well over 6 foot and you've got to be just barely 5.
So what's your problem with him?
Exactly 1 week ago, I witnessed him sneaking up Pointer Tower. He was making every effort to avoid detection.
So?
He was also carrying a knife. Name, Poppy Pointer. Age, 19. Profession, Apparently Poppy has defaced my notes. Under profession, I had of course originally written pianist, but she has crossed that out and written the ghost of Christmas yet to come. What is your opinion of Tangle Tower?
Oh, it's impressive. Elaborate gardens, unique architecture.
Must be worth a fortune.
Why do you ask, Fifi?
I am the heir of the Fellow family and the Remington family. This makes me the sole beneficiary of Tangle Tower.
That's quite an inheritance.
They can't make you do anything, Fifi. If you don't want the house, just tell them. Or just sell it. Who cares?
You sound like her. I require facts. What do you know?
Well, we know Freya was stabbed with a knife, and then she fell—
Correction. She was stabbed with something. There was no knife found at the crime scene.
Apart from the one in the painting.
Which, as a mere abstract representation, does not count. Nobody has ever been stabbed by the concept of a knife. This belongs to Poppy. In fact, she owns a number of cassette tapes.
What happened to it, though?
It has been left underwater for an extended period of time.
Right. But why?
I do not know why. The statue itself does not interest me, but I do wish to know about those symbols on the harp. Have you deciphered their meaning yet?
We're working on it.
We are?
Curious. Freya is normally highly skilled at capturing someone's likeness, but in this painting, she has accidentally made Flora look quite young.
I think she was just being kind.
Why is that kind? Anyway, I'm far more interested in what Flora is holding. I performed the test on the red paint myself. I discovered that it was in fact not paint, but blood.
What made you want to test it in the first place?
It was Poppy. She told me she thought the painting looked like a bloody knife. I told her not to be ridiculous. My mother owns no such knife. But then I noticed that the color was slightly too dark, and the substance itself was overly viscous.
You noticed that just from looking at it once?
Of course. The red paint on the brush is not paint. It is blood. Same for the palette.
So Freya added the blood to the painting herself?
Or blood got on the brush and palette some other way?
I do not know the answer.
Fifi, did you test the red paint in this pot?
Yes, I did. I discovered it too was blood, not paint.
A whole pot full of blood?
Not a whole pot. It is only partially full.
Yeah, but still. Doesn't that freak you out?
No. In fact, it may be considered rather reassuring. The gramophone belongs to Poppy, but I believe she gave it to my mother, and my mother often loaned it to Freya. Or maybe it is the other way around.
When did it get cracked?
I cannot pinpoint it exactly. All I know is that it must have happened sometime in the last 2 days.
Is she laughing?
That belongs to my mother. I think she must be fond of eggs. There are a number of egg-shaped carvings to be found in the garden and in the Grand Hall.
Yeah, what's the deal with all the eggs?
Some people just like eggs. There is a drawing of me, a drawing of Detective Hawkshaw, and a drawing of Poppy and Fitz. I believe Freya was attempting to communicate something through this painting.
Any idea what it was?
I am not the person to ask. All I see is a blood-red mountain with angry storm clouds brewing above it. As such, I cannot ascertain any meaning from it whatsoever.
Do you know who was reading this book?
It belongs to my mother.
And she left it in the library?
No, my mother has not been in the library for some time. A book. My book.
What's in it?
Pages. A wooden carving of my father, made by my father. Although, now that I look at it, I do not understand how he was able to paint the red parts without any red paint. It is a model of Freya, made by my father.
A model of Flora, you mean?
And a man with a beard. And a little red and white creature.
Why would my father make a model of Freya? This belongs to Professor Pointer, does it not?
No, I don't think so.
Who else would own such a pointless little telescope?
It's a telescope.
Oh yes, it has a telescopic lens. It could only be used for looking at things that are far away. The fruit here has a unique chemical makeup. It makes them completely pointless. Unless you wish to cut it down and sell it as a precious stone.
It's not edible.
Depends.
On what?
On the structural integrity of your teeth. That blade.
It's a troll for gardening.
It is. Why did Poppy leave shards of glass all over this statue?
What makes you think it was Poppy?
The statue lives in the music room. Who else would it be?
Who is that in the photo?
I'm quite sure that I have no idea. An item from Poppy's childhood. Her earliest piano lessons hold some special significance for her.
Why's that?
No idea. She has never graced me with the details, and I am not forthcoming enough to ask.
You two are friends, right?
We are, yes.
But...
It is clear to me now that Poppy has become tired of my company.
Is it anything to do with Freya?
Oh, no. The changes in Poppy's mood have nothing to do with Freya. Her concerns simply lie elsewhere. What a mess. Penelope should tidy up after herself.
These weren't dropped by Penny. They were dropped by birds, I think.
My argument stands.
What's wrong?
Earmuffs do not go on statues. I am scared of birds.
Why?
It is an irrational fear. I have no suitable explanation.
Oh.
It is a flower. It reminds me of something, but I cannot say what. Who is this her to whom the message refers?
Well, I don't know exactly.
Then how can I meaningfully evaluate this object? Next! Now this is interesting. Where did you find it?
In the astronomy tower.
And yet, it does not concern the field of astronomy.
Nope.
In fact, you could even say that entomology is the exact opposite of astronomy.
Yeah, you could.
I would not say that, however.
Oh, you wouldn't?
No, it would be quite naive. To study science in any field is to study the connections between all matter in the universe, living or inanimate.